So thank you guys for joining again, another YouTube video. This is a special one. We got an interview today, and it's with, I like to think, the hottest commodity right now in the Bond community, Will from Bond 00XL. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Luke. I hope you are. I appreciate you having me on today, man. I got to be honest with you. A little bit nervous, but I'm excited too.
Honestly, that's okay. I'm nervous too because I don't actually think I've interviewed anybody by myself at this point. I really don't think I've done that yet.
We'll
Usually
take
I've
the
got,
steps together. We'll take the steps
yeah,
together.
yeah. So you want to let everybody know what's going on up here?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's been a rough day. I'm trying to get this whole YouTube thing going and this whole recording thing going, and I had something fall over my head and hit my head. Oh, wait a second. That was actually, I guess that was probably Daniel Craig. But I figure if it's good enough for Daniel Craig, the forehead thing ought to work for me too, right?
Yeah, I appreciate you going all out for this. What actually is that? What is that? Like lipstick or something? What is it?
We'll go with lipstick. That sounds
Okay.
way better than what it actually is. So yeah, lipstick. It's lipstick. It's lipstick. You're exactly right. How could
Yeah. Okay, good.
it's certainly not ketchup because that would be like crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it stayed up there pretty well for ketchup, I will say. So before we get started, I got to compliment you. I love the Orla Bar Brown piece you've got on too. That's looking
Oh,
sharp.
thanks, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. This is one of my favorite pieces, and it's funny you mentioned that because one of the next big videos that I plan on doing is going to be it's going to be more toward the spring. Is
Okay.
going to be an Oliver Brown review piece, a couple of pieces. It's going to be certainly this shirt is one of the top of the list, and I'm hoping to get the Oliver Brown Thunderball swim shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've had those for two. They put them out 2 successive years, and the first year I got a pair, and frankly, overestimated my ability to slim down appropriately, and I bought a size too small, and so I tried to exchange them, and by the time I did, the size that I needed was sold out. So
Yeah.
this year, when they re-released them, I got online, and I think it was the very first day, and tried to buy them, and alas, the largest size, frankly, was already sold out. So if they do it the third time, if they do it again this year, uh, I'm going to be on their site the morning of the release, probably before
Mm-hmm.
the site even opens, and I'm going to try to get the Thunderball shorts and review those shorts with this shirt. So yeah, thanks for bringing it up. I love
No
all of
problem.
them. I got a lot of their pieces, and look forward to doing a review of some of their garments.
Yeah, I actually, when I first started doing all this, that was the first brand that I tried gravitating towards because they had just released all that Bond edition stuff had just come out a couple months after. But the one piece I ordered, I think, was the Thunderball is the blue short sleeve button down, right?
The Thunderball
Yeah,
is a pink one. There's a pink. I know
that's
there's a
right.
pink
Why
one.
can't I think of whatever one the blue one was? I ordered that one. It was a size too small, and I knew that, and it was just a hair too small. So I knew large would be too big.
Right.
So I just returned it. But it's as of late, I've actually gotten a lot more Orla Bar Brown stuff. But before we jump into that, I want to get to know you a little more. What exactly got you into Bond in the first place?
Man, that's a great question, and I touched on it just a little bit in my video
Hmm.
that I did. You know, I grew up in a very small town in North Carolina, a very small town. Um, as an only child, I did a lot of reading, a lot of comic books, a lot of just all kinds of literature, and a lot of reading, of course, and a lot of movies and TV and that kind of thing as well. And when I first saw my first Bond movie at the theater, in fact, my family went to see a different movie. I was trying to go to see a different movie instead of the Bond movie. Turns out everybody else wanted to see The Spy Who Loved Me.
Mm,
And so then we went to see that film, and I was blown away, man.
yeah.
From the first until the very end, I was hooked. I really was, and I literally have been ever since. I remember once I saw that movie, it was over. I was a Bond fan, man.
That's actually a favorite of mine too. That one, you did describe it very well in your video, which was fantastic, by the way, and we'll get into that. But that one was a favorite of mine too. I kind of got started with the GoldenEye video game and then transitioned into the films. But I wasn't, my friends wanted to stick with Brosnan and wait for what was to come, and I went backwards. And
Oh,
something about the Sean and the Roger movies in particular. I mean, obviously they have, at that point in time, those were the two most tenured actors, but something about those two actors, I loved watching those films,
Yeah.
even as a kid in the 90s.
Even the older Sean Connery ones, even when you were younger, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. One of my favorites is From Russia with Love to
Uh,
this day.
me,
Yeah,
me
even as
too.
like a 13-year-old, I was watching From Russia with Love. But you know what though? I don't even think I've ever really touched on this. My grandmother got me started on watching not Bond, but like older films. So as like a kid, and I'm talking like less than 10, I was watching like Foul Play and
Um,
Silver Streak,
yeah,
movies like that, like
yeah,
old 70s, Gene Wilder, Chevy
absolutely.
Chase, Goldie Hawn, movies like that. Because my dad, for the job he had, he would travel a lot. My mom would go with him every now and then. And if I was staying with my grandparents, it wouldn't be like, let's watch, Mission Impossible 2. It'd be Silver Streak or, something
Yeah,
from
cool.
the 70s or Grease, things like that. So for a kid my age, at the time between, I'd say probably 7 and 12 or 13, watching older movies was not anything abnormal to me.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I like the fact that you were grounded in. I guess your first Bond experience, like you said, was Pierce Brosnan,
Hmm.
and then you
Yep.
went back and looked at the rest of them. So I don't know if it's appropriate to ask you this question, but and certainly I'm not interviewing you. I don't
No,
presume to do
please
that.
do. Ask away.
But what got you into Bond specifically, and how did you get so excited and turned on to it that you did want to go back and see the old ones as well?
Yeah. So I was thinking about it today, knowing that you and I were going to talk. And I actually had somebody ask me today to come onto their show probably next week or something. So I was thinking about it. But um, it was playing the video game. So GoldenEye 64. And then once I saw the film, which of course had come out, I think 2 years prior to the game, it was the first time where any sort of video game really translated to something you could see on screen. So I think it
Okay.
was kind of like you could really submerse yourself into that experience, really feel like you were Bond. But like I said, my friends were completely fine with, sticking to um, waiting it out and seeing what was coming next for Brosnan. And I was like, there's, at this point, 30 plus years of history of this franchise. Like I have no desire to sit here and wait. And I'm glad I didn't, because the first Bond film I saw in theaters was Die Another Day. So could you imagine if I've been like, oh, I mean, I remember seeing that with my dad and some of my friends. We were like first row. So he's kite surfing and I'm like looking up at like trying not to puke. And even then I was like, this is absurd,
I
but
love it.
so yeah, I was fortunate enough to discover the old films. But yeah, Goldeneye did it for me. So, but with that said, who was your first, you saw The Spy Who Loved Me first, but did you go back like I did and started, watching the Connery films, or did you kind of sit there and say like, hey, because at that point in time they were making a movie like what, every year and a half, every 2 years, so it wasn't like a huge wait for
Right.
the next one.
A lot quicker, and basically that's what I had to do, Luke, because I'm a much older. I don't know how old you are.
Just
Um,
turned 30. Just turned
30.
30.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I make no mistake about it. I'm 57 now, right? And so when I was growing up and I saw The Spy Who Loved Me at the theaters, man, I didn't have the option to get on YouTube or not YouTube, but
Right.
Netflix or these other, you know, those kind of things. In fact, VCRs, I don't even think were a thing back then
Right.
when I was
Right.
growing up. So I had to wait till it came to the theater or came on TV, normal TV. We didn't have cable TV back then when I was growing up, and we had basically three channels to start with, and you were lucky to get something good on those three channels. And so, I did a
Right.
lot of, like I said, a lot of reading. So I went to the novels probably next.
Oh, okay. Okay. Which one did you start with?
I'd be lying if I told you I remembered that. I really don't. Maybe
Yeah.
I know one of my favorite novels too, though, is From Russia with Love. One of my
Yeah.
favorite Bond novels.
There's something about that film that is just absolutely one of my favorites. And the book is very good too. And I actually have to admit, I haven't read very many. I think maybe two and a
Yes, sir.
half. That's including
Yeah,
all the post Fleming novels too. So I've got a lot of work to do with the novels. Do you still read them occasionally?
I do actually. Yeah, I just with the book club coming up on this Saturday, I'm trying to get through You Only Live Twice, but with work and everything going on right now, that's been kind of tough to do, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. it's been
Yeah.
time to hard to carve out that time to do that. But I
So
want to get through them again, and I'd love to at some point be able to get those Folio Society books. But they
oh
look
yeah.
fantastic. But
Yeah.
that's down the road probably.
Yeah. So with You Only Live Twice coming up, so that was also a favorite of mine as a kid, and I've recently started to learn that's not very many people like that film. Where are you at with that film?
You know what? That's a great question, and frankly, I'm mixed about it, and it depends on
Hmm.
what lens I look at it through. I actually lived in Japan for a while, for about a year back in the late '80s,
That's right. That's right.
and so I have such great affinity and respect and love for the Japanese culture, and so the allure of the Orient is in my soul, if you will.
Right.
So I like the aspect of it from that standpoint. Some of the things I think are a little, I don't want to say silly, but some of the things are a little, let's just say, interesting.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and so I struggle with some of those. And you know how it is with the older movies, and with my light changing here, I apologize.
Oh, no
My
problem.
background seems to be diminishing as well.
So let's start with let's get into the YouTube. So your channel is very, very new. You posted your first video. So the angle, let's talk about the angle because I was fortunate when I first started my channel. I had a lot of direction from David, and he told me, he's like, when your intro video, really discuss what you intend on talking about in your channel and kind of what separates you. And you definitely did that. But let's have you touch on it. So what would you say your whole mission is with your YouTube channel?
Well, thanks, Luke, for asking that, because it took a long time for me to get off the sidelines and into the game, if you will. And by game, I mean producing as opposed to just consuming content.
Right.
I was content to take in so much from all of you guys and have done so for years. And the video couldn't. I just tried to be myself and to be honest and to be real, and that's a struggle that we all struggle with sometimes. But the reality is, what got me into the game was those two videos from the Bond experience, man.
Hmm.
That he does such a wonderful job, and I was so excited to see that one about body type, and then
Right.
my body type was not in there. And I don't mean that in any derogatory way whatsoever. In fact, I'm thankful that it wasn't, frankly. And then watching Mr. Lord of the Burlington Arcade, Mike Lord, uh, watching him question whether his physique would allow him to wear that sweater,
Right.
I said, you know what? I'm going to get off the sidelines. I'm going to produce because I have these same questions. It doesn't matter if you're just turned 30 years old, so you're in my book, you're a young guy, right?
I
You're
appreciate that.
young.
Not
You're young.
not in my fiance and all of her friends' eyes, but I
My
appreciate
wife's
that.
10 years younger than me too, so I don't.
Oh, okay, good, good.
But
So she gets it.
yeah, so she gets it. But yeah, it's I don't even remember what I was saying yet, because to be honest with you, where was
Just
I?
jumping into it, sitting, you were on the sidelines watching, and then
Oh
those
yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
videos in
You're asking
particular.
about that. That's right. And Mr. Lord helped me motivate me to get started
Hmm.
into that, because I knew how I felt. I've had these questions for years, and like I said, you're a young guy. You're young, intelligent. You're a good-looking guy. You're I'm sure successful. You've got a beautiful fiance. You've got a
Thank you.
lot of great things going on in your life. But I promise you, and I want everybody else, you still you still, like the rest of us, have insecurities, I'm sure,
Oh yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
And so for all of us, it doesn't matter if we're Daniel Craig himself.
Right.
Daniel Craig has insecurities, I promise.
Oh yeah.
David Zaretsky, as much as David has done for the community and as great shape as he's in, is wonderful. David, I'm sure, has insecurity. Everyone has insecurities.
Right.
And so part of my mission, my goal, is for people that are challenged by some of the insecurities to help them realize that they can work on their insecurities, but still enjoy being who they are now.
Right.
And that's one of my main motivations, in all honesty, because for so many years I've bought things and thought, I'm going to lose weight, and I'm going to wear that, and I'm going to reward myself and look great doing it. And so if you never get into that garment, that's happened a lot of times.
Hmm.
Then the motivation is not there, so you get more down on yourself. So my point is just, you live the lifestyle now. Doesn't mean don't work on your insecurities, your demons, your whatever they may be. If you think you're too fat, you think you're too thin, if you think, gosh, I'm tall and gangly, or I'm too short. We've all got insecurities that we're dealing with, and you know, that is what I'm trying to help, or want my message to be is, man, this is a bond, and again, bond community, and the community is welcoming, and be yourself, live the lifestyle to the extent you can,
Yeah.
and fulfill your desires, and do it for yourself. You know, you're not doing it to impress anybody else. You're doing it. When I say you, I mean me. We
Right.
all really are doing it for that feeling it gives us for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very well said. And you've taken probably a better route and a more patient route than I did because I too had been consuming the content for a very, very, very long time, long before Instagram was even a thing. And once COVID hit and I started catching wind of certain things, um, I think it was Operation Phoenix, it would have been at the time, I believe. It was things like that. I immediately had to jump into it, but then I came up with the name pretty quickly, and the name stuck. I've stayed with the name, but the what I was going to contribute, I had no idea. And then I've told this story a million times, but I did have like a note in my phone where every day, Monday, post picture of a watch, Tuesday,
Mm.
Bond girl, Wednesday, and that got so old so fast. It kind of forced me to try to become a little more original. And I'm thankful for that. But the YouTube thing, I had been doing it for, I think I had BondsApartment had been going on for at least a year before I jumped into YouTube.
Oh
But
wow.
what I like about your channel is, like you said, with David's video with Harris, the body types, you were right. Your particular body type wasn't represented, but that left the door wide open for you to come in and I mean, it's as original as it gets, as far as I'm concerned. It's very, very well constructed and thought out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I guess being fat has never been so rewarding. So, but no, and let me, if you don't mind, I want to share something with you, because the reception that I've gotten from so many people after posting that video has been amazing.
Yeah.
People, not just people that are heavy, not just people that are large size, but people that struggle with other issues, body issues, whether they think they're too thin or too short or whatever. They've been so rewarded to reach out to me and share their stories with me on private messages and things like that. And if you don't mind, give me like a minute, and I'd like to share one of the stories that I got
Please.
recently,
Please. Yeah.
because I think it's amazing. This gentleman reached out to me, and he was so fantastic, so wonderful with his words. He was thanking me for putting myself out there and sharing my story with everybody
Hmm.
and my challenges. And so he said that he too is a larger frame guy, and he has the Omega watch, the Omega watch from No Time to
Yep.
Die. He has that watch, but he's not wearing it. And he told me, he says, I'm not going to wear it until I get my goal weight, till I lose the weight down to my goal weight. That's
Oh,
going to be
okay.
my reward. So he wanted to use that watch as a reward for the weight loss journey that he's on. Yeah, and I've done that, like I said, with so many times with clothing and things like that. But my response to him, I guess maybe being 57 now, my response to him, I said, forgive me if I'm being out of line, not my place to say, but I think you should wear that watch immediately.
Hmm.
It's a fantastic watch. Get the enjoyment out of it. Live today.
Yeah.
Enjoy that. Enjoy what you have today. Live that bond lifestyle, that moment today. And when you go to pick up that donut, or you go to pick up that piece of food that you want to eat, we'll see what time it is. That Omega will be on your wrist already. See what time it is, and ask yourself, is it time to make a better decision? Is it time to put that down, that piece of food down, that drink down, that whatever the case may be? Is it time for me to make a better decision
Yeah.
for the goal that I'm seeking for myself? Because that way he gets the benefit of wearing the watch immediately,
Right.
and he also gets to associate that with making good choices.
Yeah. That's smart. Are you a
Well,
motivational speaker by chance, or?
no, sir, not at all. In fact, if I wish I could take my own medicine, right? I wish I
Right.
wish I
Easier
could live
said than
my life.
done. Yeah.
That's right.
Tale as old
But
as time.
hopefully he will do that, because that's something he can use as a motivation that he's earned, but that doesn't mean he hasn't earned the right and to wear that watch or that garment or whatever it is now, in my opinion, as well.
Right. Right. That's very good advice. So what did he end up putting it on?
He said he thinks he might just do that.
Yeah,
He said,
I hope so. I
I
would.
hope
I can tell you one thing. I would not be able to not put that watch on. I could never do that.
Yeah, me either.
It's a
And can
beautiful piece.
if I want to interject something else real quick if I can, and I
Yeah.
probably should wait until, but this is for you and Lorenzo and Cassandra and Brienne as well. That most recent video you guys did with your fiance's on, I got to say I loved it.
Oh,
I
thank you.
loved,
Thank you. I
not
appreciate
really,
it.
I loved the ladies' perspective, their honesty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's true. You ask if I was a motivational speaker, not at all. I've spent 20 years as a trial lawyer.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's the last
So
thing I'll say then.
no. But they're on, you know, when you're speaking to a jury or you're speaking to a judge or you're speaking to someone, at least the way I was trained in my experience, it's all about honesty. It's all about integrity. It's about being real. And those ladies came across so damn real. I loved it. When Brienne was speaking specifically about trying to keep up with people buying this or wearing that, or you could tell that her heart was concerned. She was legitimately feeling the people that struggle with that, right? That was real, I think. And she's so smart. She's so perceptive because I think we all, I know I do sometimes, and you've admitted that you do. We all struggle with that sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I want that watch, or I want that Aston Martin, or I want this shirt, or I want the. It's not about that necessarily. That's part of the process. That's part of the fun, right?
Right.
But the real fun is getting to know people, getting to know associations, and putting yourself out there and meeting new people. And I was just so impressed with both those young ladies that
Well, thank you.
that
Thank you.
video really struck with me, and I can't wait for part 2.
Well, I can tell you this. I showed Brienne your video and she was obsessed with it. She was like, I need that guy in my life. And she was very, very, very nervous to do that. And Lorenzo actually came up with that idea months ago. And
wow.
with 4 schedules, it took that long to finally do it.
Is that right?
Yeah, but I think you know, she did do very well. And I kept trying to make sure that she wasn't, I got like a fuzz on my nose. I kept trying to make sure that
at least it's not ketchup.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I kept trying to I don't know, she did say a couple things that were, for lack of a better word, blunt. And I was like, well, people are going to respect it because that's what we are. But you know, I think she did a very, very good job. They both
You
did.
did an amazing
They both
job.
did. Yeah.
Now, from your standpoint, hearing her say some of the things she said, the pucker factor, as I call it, might have been fairly high.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe I didn't want that shared with everyone, perhaps.
Right. Right. Well, you know, I'm glad she brought up some of the things because, you know, at the same time, I like when it gets like real.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
I don't, you know, it's a James Bond podcast, but some of my favorite podcasts don't have anything to do with Bond. They all tend to be like in the entertainment industry, like a lot of interviews with actors or other figures. But you know, the best content in those is when they just talk about real life scenarios. So she did bring up like, you know, making sure that I didn't I don't think she ever thought I'd become somebody I'm not, but you know, she probably didn't even think that it would be as successful as it has been. And not because she didn't have faith in me. I'm sure she did, but even I didn't know anything about what could come of it. The podcast wasn't even a thing when I started it, you know? So yeah, I think she brought out a lot. They both girls brought up a lot of good topics, and they're very, very well versed and very knowledgeable.
And that came across, and again, for me, there you go,
Yeah.
Lorenzo.
Ugh,
For me, and I don't even know where the hell that came from. But both
apparently
those
from
ladies-
me.
What's that?
I said apparently it came from me,
Okay, yeah.
and now I'll never live it down.
Well, the problem is I can't stop saying it now.
Yeah,
Thanks to both of you.
that is because of David. We started saying it. Somebody pointed it out. We made a comment about it on the podcast. Now every time we say it, David says it like that for me, and now it's so once again everything right back to David. You can always blame David.
It's a good philosophy, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna make some T-shirts.
ABD, always blame
Yeah.
David.
Always blame David. Yeah, yeah. Those are coming. Those are coming.
Put me in line. I'll get in line for that.
I'll send you one. I'll send you one for free. So back to your YouTube channel. So like I said, your philosophy is there. It's fantastic. So what exactly, you know, when it comes to the NPL sweater, that being your first video, did you always, was it something about that sweater in the past where you were like, I'm struggling with the right sizing or this or that, or what was it about that particular piece? Because like I've said, and I've said this to you offline and on here, it's a very, very successful video, and it's a very just well produced and well shot. Everything about it is flawless. So you chose, I mean, this, you're kind of going to be associated with this NPL sweater for a little bit of time. Did you consciously choose that sweater for a particular reason, or does it just happen to be what you wanted to review?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one I've not really thought about, Luke, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to speak again, speak from my heart. And
Yeah, please do.
To me, for me, the sorry, the sweater, it was initially more about NPL.
Okay.
Okay, it wasn't necessarily the commando sweater.
Okay.
I've looked at that NPL Fumo gray roll neck for years, and
Yeah.
just never have pulled the trigger for a variety of reasons.
Right.
It just never pulled the trigger. And so the No Time to Die movie came out, and before the movie came out, we saw a lot of stills, a lot of posters. The commando sweater was on one of the posters, of course.
Right.
And I was as blunt. I'm in the right place. I was as blunt as I could be. Initially, I didn't like that sweater.
Yeah.
I did it. I saw the neckline and I kind of laughed at it. In all honesty, and I said, that's just kind of to me a kind of a joke.
Yeah.
But that was, again, the more I saw it, the more familiarity I had with that sweater. I'm thinking, you know what, that actually does look good. And I know Impel, even though I've never owned any of their garments, I know Impel is a quality company.
Right.
And they have free shipping and returns, just like I said. And so I thought, what the heck, I'm going to reward myself, and I'm going to buy an Impel garment. And so I ordered the commando sweater, thinking, just like I said in my video, that I'd probably end up returning it mainly because of the boat neck.
Right.
And once I got it in and tried it on, I was hooked, man. It was kind of like going back to The Spy Who Loved Me. I was hooked.
Yeah.
And so I did exchange it for a smaller size. I originally got a double XL, and then I exchanged that for the extra large.
Yeah.
And man, my wife, my lovely wife, she was nice enough. She gifted me for Christmas this year. I now have that Impel Fumo Gray roll
Oh,
neck.
good. Are we talking about the Die Another Day turtleneck?
No, this is the one from Spectre, the Spectre turtleneck.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, the Fumo Gray Spectre turtleneck. I've wanted that for years, and you just never had pulled the trigger on it. And
yeah,
so
that is a beautiful.
I got the commando in and loved it, and so she saw how much I loved that, and she pulled the trigger for me on that.
Yeah,
Gray sweater.
That's good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that real quick. So your wife, where does she seems, I mean, just from setting up this call together, she seems very, very supportive of what you're doing. Am I on track with that?
Man, yeah, she's amazingly supportive. She really, and I'm not an easy guy to be supportive of sometimes.
No, I don't believe that for a second.
I have interests, and I indulge myself in those hobbies and those interests from time to time. And if I'm into something, I'm into something.
Right.
When I said in my thank yous, a long-suffering wife,
Yeah.
I mean, she's always been very supportive, man. I've been very lucky, very fortunate to have her in my life. She is my bond girl, my bond lady, my bond woman. I'm a lucky man, and I say that in all sincerity. But I will say this too, Luke, if you don't mind me saying this, and again, it's going back to Cassandra and to Brianne, and this is a Southern thing, and I may have to explain myself. Harris, you might need to help him as well. Like as good looking as you and Lorenzo are, as smart as you guys are, as successful as you guys are, after seeing and hearing those two ladies that on your video, I will say that just like I did, I think you fellas outkicked your coverage a bit.
Yes. I say that all the time. Yeah, you as well. I mean, but that's the goal, isn't it? That's the dream. Yeah,
absolutely.
If you haven't, then you're not doing it right.
That's right. Exactly.
So once the video came out, and you've touched on this a little bit, your video, obviously. Who did you hear from that you were surprised by? Anybody in particular reach out to you that you were kind of surprised to get the message from or interest from?
I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I didn't know if the video would get 10 views. I didn't know if the video would get any likes. I didn't know if the video would get any subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
So, I really had no idea what to expect. I just wanted to produce what I wanted to produce for my first video, to come out and give my message. And if anybody liked it, and if it was receptive to it, if it touched a chord with anyone, then I've hit it out of the park in my book, whether it was one person or 100,000 people, right?
Right.
And so I've been very lucky. But I'm not going to lie to you. I was surprised and flattered and humbled that Mr. Zaritsky reached out to me and was incredibly supportive and incredibly effusive in his praise. And
Yeah.
the problem is it sets it up for, what do I do next, right? If he's gonna give me a shout out and a pat on the back, I sure as hell don't want to let him down on my next one.
Right.
Right. And one of the things he said too, and I hope I'm not stepping on any toes or divulging any confidences in something that he told me. But one of the things he said to me, and it rang so true, and I don't know of a better way to say it, what he said to me. And he said to me, and again, thank you, David, in all sincerity, thank you. He said to me, you did a fantastic job with this first video. He said, but now that's your Casino Royale. What do you do next?
Yeah.
Right?
Scary, isn't it?
It's amazing. Is Quantum of Solace next?
Yes.
It's what's next, right? He
Right.
hit the nail on the head. I can't think, for a Bond fan, I can't think of a better way to say what he was trying to say or what he did say. Because he's
How
right.
scary would it have been if he said, that's your die another day. Now what's next?
Well, shit, it's all uphill from there, right?
So that was shitty.
Yeah.
But you can do it. Yeah.
You did calling Halle Berry, and we're going to make another movie. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you can talk her into it.
He said, and he's so right. I want to, the production value of this first one, I got it where I wanted it.
Yeah.
Because I took the time to do that. It was important to me to come out of the gate, and if I'm going to do something, I want to be prepared. When I was practicing law and I had an opening statement to give, which is the first chance you have to speak to a jury, most people hardly even focus on the opening statement at all. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trained by Jerry Spence, a famous trial lawyer out of Wyoming, and he spent probably more time on the opening statement than anything else.
Yeah.
And so I would spend countless hours getting my opening statement right, because that's the first chance you have to make an impression.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took the same mindset into my first video, but the question is, that was my Casino Royale. What's next?
It's you know what though? It's so interesting knowing now what it is you did for a living, because it really shows, your preparation, but then you're very well versed, and you can tell a story very well.
Well, thank you.
And that shows, and not like a lawyery way, not a lawyery story. That's not that's not what I meant.
Might take a quibble at that I can tell a story very well.
You're a very good liar, Will. You're a very good liar.
Actually, I think I'm a better truth teller than I am liar. I'm not smart enough to remember lies, so I got to tell the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's probably a good thing. That's probably why you were successful. So have you put any thought into what you wanted to do next? I know you mentioned Orla Bar Brown. Will that be most likely the next video?
I don't think it's going to be my next big one. What I intend on doing is probably maybe 4 to 6, what I call big ones a year, 4 or 6, hopefully more, but 4 to 6 to do justice to them. I want to do 4 to 6 a year, really good, hopefully good quality ones. Hopefully they'll be well received. And in between those 4 to 6 a year, I want to do more smaller, like unboxing videos. Like the next couple of things I've got that I want to do that I hopefully will shoot in the next week or so, and I haven't started working on, but I got the products in. I'm excited to open and review my doo-doo. A nice young lady. I got one of the young lady that has been doing those for so many of us. Mm-hmm. I got mine in the mail. I haven't opened it yet because it's going to be a true unboxing.
Yeah. And
then I've got 5 pairs of those London Stock Exchange socks that I'm probably going to do a quick YouTube.
Yeah.
Review of just from my standpoint of but I think my next big one might be the Omega. And I know so many people have reviewed that Omega watch, so No Time to Die Omega.
Yep.
so many people, it's so many reviews out there. What could I add to that? But I told, when I did my video, I told my audience, that anybody, the 10 people watching, or the one person watching, or the 100,000th person watching, that, and I meant it, that I want this to be Bond XXL. It's my channel, but it's our channel too. And so what do you want to see?
Right.
And I've gotten a lot of requests for the Omega, man. I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of requests for the Omega.
Oh, good, good. I mean, this is the thing, like we've talked about, you have a very original idea, and your creativity and production quality is there. But once you've got the subscribers, I'll just watch, because now I'm coming for you at this point. You can talk about a pile of shit and I'd watch.
Interestingly enough, that's my third video.
Oh, good, good. That was going to be mine. So
Yeah,
I'll have to beat you to it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'll have to beat you to it. I was going to ask you something else too. Oh, okay. So one of the videos I'm working on is branching out within the Bond brand. So prime example is right here. This is a Barber button-down shirt, but of course not from the films. I wanted to ask you, is there any particular brand that you've kind of branched out from just Bond things? Like maybe Orla Bar Brown, you started wearing them and you're like, you know what, I'm going to wear their t-shirts or their long sleeve polos. Have you done that with any of the brands?
Yes, sir. I have actually. I've got Orla Bar Brown is one of the companies that I've done that with.
Okay.
As you mentioned, I've got several of their toweling polos that have nothing to do with Bond. That have nothing to do with Bond. And they're fantastic too. I mean, they're a quality garment, as you know.
Yeah.
The only Barber piece that I have right now is the Skyfall jacket.
Okay.
The Barber Skyfall, and I love that piece. And I had a lot of people request me to do that as my next video as well. The problem with that is, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm always going to be real with you guys. The problem with doing the Barber review next is the damn jacket's too small for Bond XXL right now.
Yeah. I've
I've
heard the sizing is strange. I've heard the sizing is a problem with that one.
I've worn it before, and I've been a size to where I could wear it, and did wear it quite a bit. But COVID has made Bond XXL Skyfall jacket. It's going to be a 10 pounds from now. So.
I know the feeling. Yeah. David actually asked me, he's like, what size are you? Because I have some stuff here that might fit you. And I was like, nice. I'm like a 42. And he's like, me too. And I was like, David, but you're like a ripped 42. I'm just like a guy who eats pizza and burgers all the time, 42, so
you're a 30-year-old 42 is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. But he's got me. He's a 50-something-year-old 42 that is in way better shape than I am.
Well, and he's earned it, right? I mean, you're in great shape. We're not going to be derogatory about that, but hell yeah, David's earned it. I mean, he gets up at whatever time he gets up at, and he's active and working out. You can't fault the guy for that, man. He's dedicated and devoted, and has been successful doing that program as well, and he certainly motivates the rest of us to try to keep up. Certainly at my age, but even younger folks, I think, as well. Yeah.
So you actually kind of on the lines of physical fitness and those things. You said you were into, was it karate in particular, or taekwondo? Was it?
I've done. When I grew up, I was into martial arts, whatever was local, and I grew up in a small town, like I said, in North Carolina near the mountains. And so my initial experience in martial arts was in Okinawan karate.
Okay.
But my main focus, why I went to Japan and lived in Japan for a year, was Aikido. Okay. Which is most people are familiar with it probably because of Steven Seagal.
Right.
His movies feature Aikido predominantly, and that's what I've spent most of my time training in. I've trained in karate. I have trained in taekwondo. After I left the Okinawan system, when that instructor left, I went to taekwondo, trained in different kinds of kung fu. I've trained in arnis, and not a whole lot of Krav Maga, but I love Krav. I think it's a fantastic art as well. But my main art was Aikido, and that's why I went to Japan and lived in Japan for a year.
Okay. So was that pre or post Bond for you?
Well, I got exposed to Bond when I was like 12 years old. So
okay,
I didn't move to Japan until I was.
Well, no, just martial arts in general. Like, was it seeing Bond and you were like, I kind of want to learn how to do some of these things, or had you already been taking martial arts as a kid?
Yeah, I was already taking martial arts at that point.
Okay.
It was more of a Bruce Lee thing, I think, at that point. Probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my initial focus in martial arts, the way I was brought into it, was the movie called Billy Jack, and that was a for a kid my age, probably shouldn't have been watching that movie to start with, but it certainly resonated with me and made me want to do that. You know, I grew up, like I said so many times already, a heavy kid, a fat kid, and wasn't overly bullied or anything like that too much. But I think the aspect of being able to take care of yourself, to stand up for others that were getting their asses kicked, to be a voice for some reason, as a young kid, an only child, it resonated with me. And then the Bruce Lee movies made the martial arts thing pursuit that much more concrete in what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So I think that's a good segue into, is there any other characters other than Bond that you kind of had like a affinity to, even as a kid or now?
Absolutely, man. When I was growing up, this is kind of embarrassing perhaps, but I don't care. When I was growing up, like I said, I did a lot of reading when I was growing up. I was an only child. My parents both worked. And my heroes, if you will, my literary heroes were Sherlock Holmes, James Bond, Dracula, believe it or not.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think one of the things those three have in common, if you go to the core, because I've asked myself so many times, that's a strange combination. What the hell's going on there? But I think one of the things that at the core of all three of those characters is, they were all gentlemen, right?
Right. Yeah.
They all had a congeniality and a just being polite, and even Dracula before he killed you, right? They all had a air about them of
charisma.
There you go, charisma. Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the things that drew me to those characters. I liked the the seduction of the cool vampire. I liked the mental aspect of the Sherlock Holmes character, and of course Bond was kind of like all of it put together.
Is Bond like your top of the mountain?
Yeah, and he is, and I have a close second. I'm not, I'll confess. And this is more of an adult character that I associate with, that I gravitate toward, and it's the Tony Stark character from the Marvel movies.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
As portrayed by Downey Jr., right? As Robert Downey Jr. did that. He, like I said, I grew up reading comic books, and he nailed the Tony Stark character perfectly.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could ever play that role again. I could never see anybody take on that role. That's a good one. That's a really good one, actually.
Just when that music playing Back in Black from AC/DC, before you even see Stark, and they're driving down the road, before you in the Back in Black, and the first thing you see is this Scotch and the ice clinking in the Scotch glass.
Yeah, and the tank, and that Hummer. Yeah, that's a good one.
And of course, Wolverine. Growing up, the comic books with Wolverine were always a great affinity there too.
Yeah. Do you collect anything other than?
He was less of a gentleman. What's that?
Yes. He was a little more savage. Do you collect anything other than Bond memorabilia and sartorial pieces?
It's almost like you've been in my closet. In my closet?
Once or twice.
Okay. Yeah, actually I do. I am a collector. I collect sunglasses. I've got all the Tony Stark sunglasses from every Marvel movie that he was in, every pair that RDJ wore. And most of them were, when I started collecting, most of them had been discontinued for years. And it's been a journey to get them all. And then once you get them, I've got screen accurate lenses made and that kind of thing. So
yeah.
30-some pair. I'll say it's 30-some pair just of Stark glasses.
Are you serious? I didn't even know he wore that many.
Yeah.
So that's like multiple pairs per film.
Yes, sir.
Oh wow! I mean, what's your favorite part about the collecting? Is it the hunt for the item?
That's got to be part of it, right? I think that has to be part of it because it's not easily attainable. You got to find it. You got to go dig for it. You got to look for it.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
It's the thrill of the hunt to some extent, I would say, probably. Yeah.
Do you have any other Iron Man Stark pieces?
Just I've got probably the. Are you trying to make me sound like a big goober?
No, because I mean, look behind me here. I got
that?
Star Wars here. What do I got? Star Wars. You can't see it, but there is a Captain America is below the TIE fighter down there.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, I mean, I'm very interested.
If you go back and watch, and when I first saw this, and I'm guilty of this with most of the Marvel movies and to some of the James Bond movies too. When I first see them at the theater, most of the time I don't like them.
Yeah.
On first viewing, and almost all the time with the Marvel movies, I don't really like them that much.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's subsequent viewings that I like them more and more because I'm
Yeah.
too hard on them to start with, right?
Yeah.
Having grown up reading these books and I'm too hard, and then I go back and watch them for the right reasons to have fun and enjoy and experience, just sit back and experience instead of nitpicking everything apart. And then I love them. It's like one of the movies that most Marvel geeks don't really enjoy is Iron Man 2. Well, I love that movie now.
Yeah.
Didn't used to, but so you asked me about what I collected. This is in that movie. His core was poisoning from his heart, and so he had to keep switching the core out. Well, one of the props in the movie was a box that had these supposedly palladium cores, and they did a very limited run of those reproduction cores in the box and everything, and I finally got one of those. It's electronic. You can switch the core out in the arc reactor and put the core in, and it fires back up again. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's really cool. What else was it? I was going to ask you something else, kind of along those lines. It's interesting what you said about not enjoying the films. I mean, when you first see them, I'm like that with Bond films. I'm very hard on them when I first see them, and I've got very high expectations. When I saw Skyfall the first time, when Silva pulled out his teeth and it was very CGI looking, I was pissed. Like it ruined the whole movie for me. And it's one of my favorites. And I had seen it like 8 times, but the very first time I saw it, I was like, I don't think I can get past that, which I of course did. But that's interesting because I don't think I've ever had a conversation with somebody where they've kind of said something similar. Because even with No Time to Die, David was kind enough to get me into a press screening here in Michigan. So there was only like me and 8 other people. And one of the guys I recognized from the local news who does, film, critiques films or whatever. But he came in with a notepad. And anytime he would write something down, I want to be like, you fucking put that pen, you know what I mean? Like whatever you're writing, stop.
I don't care if it's good or bad.
Stop. Yeah, stop. Like, I don't care if this movie's a big piece of shit. You can't say it is.
That's
Only
right.
I can. Like you're not invested like we are. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because we can hurt our own family, right? But by God, nobody else can.
Right. So do you do that with Bond films too? Do you have unrealistic first impressions for them? Yeah.
Absolutely. But then again, like I said, I go back and watch it for the enjoyment aspect of it, as opposed to what they got wrong. What can I nitpick about? I do that. Unfortunately, it kind of ruins the initial screening for me of anything that's important to me, whether it's Bond or the Marvel stuff as well.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I'll ask you a couple more kind of
We're not allowed
simpler
to wrap
questions.
up. I'm having too much damn fun.
I know, but we'll do this again. So the first question I want to ask you, what is your favorite Sartorial film? What do you think in the whole franchise is the best style-wise?
That's a great question, man. I think, and I can't pick a little bit from each one, can I? That kind of defeats the purpose.
Nope.
It's hard to beat Quantum, in all honesty, but I love Skyfall.
Oh, okay. I
love Skyfall. The pre-title sequence suit, the tie, the shoes, the barber jacket. To me, Skyfall, and I guess I'm a little biased because Skyfall is probably in my top 3 Bond movies ever of all of them, all of them. So I would probably say Skyfall and then maybe Quantum.
What are your top 3?
How about you?
Mine is Spectre. Mine's Spectre. It's debatable, but that NPL cable knit sweater with the Dior jacket I'm obsessed with that outfit, and the Mexico City suit is unreal. And even the turtleneck that you have from NPL is a great one. That one, and it's just Lorenzo and I got in when I say heated debate, it was like a half a minute like disagreement, but I like to call it heated because you got to disagree every now and then. But I told him, I was like, the reason I can't get on board with Quantum is because I hate his hair in Quantum. I hate the way his hair looks, and I hate the way his hair looks in Skyfall. He's like, well, it's not about the hair. I was like, but it's the only thing I can see. It's the only thing I can see.
Well, when you got hair like yours, man, I can see why. Your hair's like perfect, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's just something about Spectre.
I'm just glad to have my hair at 57.
Yeah, well, you've got a great head of hair, and you got a great beard too. But
You know,
yeah,
I dyed this to make me look more distinguished. You do know that, right?
yeah, I'm sure. um, what are your top three Bond films aside from Skyfall?
So I
What are
don't
the
have to
number? What
include
are
Skyfall in my top
so?
three.
What are the other two? No, you said Skyfall might be top three. What are the other two?
Casino Royale is definitely in there.
Yeah.
I have to say Casino is definitely in there. And then I have to go back to Goldfinger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can see the Orla Bar Brown connection there then, because they've got
Yes.
some. Yeah. So do
And
you have the
you
onesie?
know, I love From Russia with Love. I love From Russia with Love, and I love Dr. No as well. But you
Mhm.
asked me, and you put me on the spot, and I'm gonna answer your damn question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's a very difficult question, and that's why, even when I first started doing the podcast, it was like, "Who's your favorite Bond? What's your favorite movie?" I don't ask that shit anymore because, for starters, nobody wants to hear it. It's not interesting enough, and second, it's like it's a really hard question to answer. But a top three is different because then really gets the wheels turning.
Yeah, you
Because
can
then
see
you
the
got to
common
think,
thread, right?
yeah. Because and mine has changed over time. Quantum
Yeah,
has
and I think
grown
it
on me
should.
more.
Perfect. That's a great example because I think it's
Yeah,
going to change, right?
yeah. I mean, in some of the older films, I was for some reason growing up, I had no interest in watching the Dalton films. I just always Jeez, I've always seen him as a more of a villain.
Oh,
So it was just difficult for me to watch him as Bond. But then, of course, once I watched, especially Living Daylights,
oh.
that one I like more than License to Kill. But
Well, Luke,
it
this is
was.
your interview and your channel, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least try to get it in. What are your top three Bond films?
I don't know. It's Casino Royale is definitely in there. That is the I. If I had to say, there's one no brainer that will never change. Casino Royale is in there, and then I'd say From Russia with Love, and I think I'll go with Goldeneye.
No.
Skyfall's been in and out of there.
Yes, sir.
But I try to mix it up a little bit. But Goldeneye has grown on me more, especially with doing all this and kind of I'm especially with No Time to Die, the amount of things I've collected from No Time to Die, whether it's a popcorn tin or the Blackwell you can see, or you can see
I
you can see
certainly
that.
can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even just behind me, 90% of that stuff is No Time to Die stuff. But
Nice.
it's kind of made me want to start to try to collect some pieces from Brosnan's era. So I'm starting to appreciate those films more, especially Goldeneye and Tomorrow Never Dies are the two that I'm really starting to kind of like, really dissect more and try to watch more often and look at them from a different lens.
I need to do that as well. But I will say that I think I was kind of on an island when those movies first came out with Timothy Dalton because I was a big fan of Timothy Dalton's.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a fan of necessarily of the movies per se, but of Timothy Dalton as Bond because, like I said, I'd read all the books and as far as capturing the cruelness and the blunt instrument,
Right.
if you will, I think he nailed it, brother. I
A
really
lot
do.
of people say that he is the closest to Fleming's Bond, and I can
So
definitely see
he
that.
worked for me, For me,
It's never going to go away. It's
I
never gonna, you
know.
just got to ignore it. You just got to ignore it. So, as far as what's on the horizon for Bond 00XL, and I know we've touched on what type of videos you want to do, what we might see in the near future. Is there like an overall goal you'd like to accomplish? Is there something you'd like to see happen with this channel in the future?
Wow, what an excellent question, man. Seriously, I don't want to just rush into an answer. So,
Take your time.
an overall goal, I want and again, I go back to David Zaretsky, and it is what it is, man. If he says this is my Casino Royale, I take that as the biggest compliment from the biggest player on the stage that I could
Right.
receive. So now I want to make sure that my next video and the next video and the next 100th video can measure up at least to be the best that I can have it be.
Yeah.
I may not reach the same production value as the first video or the second video.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had help with that I'm not going to have moving forward with most of the other ones. That was my cousin that knows exactly what he's doing, and he had great equipment. You know, I wrote what I wanted to say so that I could try to deliver it as succinctly and eloquently as possible. But I also let him know exactly where I wanted the things cut in and added, and you know, dropped in the doo-doo, for instance, or the
Mm-hmm.
image of Harris, or the image of David. Or I let him know exactly, but he was able to pull that off seamlessly, and that's not me. You know, I can't take credit for that.
Right.
But what I can do is say thank you to him, and I've said that and continue to say thank you, and acknowledge the reality of it, that wasn't me doing that. It was me telling what I wanted, exactly what I wanted done. It was my vision that he brought to life because of his talents. So the goal for me, I'm not going to say it again.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. The goal for me is to educate myself enough, become proficient enough that I can produce quality videos that will hopefully reach people and touch people in a way that this one has going forward, even without the same necessarily production value. I'm not saying my production value is going to be horrible. I hope it won't be. But even if the production value doesn't equal what's been come before it, I hope the message will at least equal it, if not exceed the message that was delivered with my first one. Does that make sense at all?
Perfect sense. This is a fantastic answer. Yeah. You know, and like I said, I think offline, you know, a couple things I'll tell you is, like I said, you know, as long as you're doing what you're passionate about, people are going to respect that. And truly, I don't think I've been a part of any other group of people where, and I'm going to try to say this as nicely as possible, but once again, you know what the name of the podcast I host is. If you're an asshole, you don't succeed. For some reason, in this little group of people, this community, if you will, I've seen the people that either are very unoriginal or completely in it for the wrong reasons or cause a bunch of problems. They don't seem to do very well. You know, and that doesn't always seem to be the case with other things, whether it's in work or relationships or whatever. And for some reason with this bond thing, I don't, you know, it just it's a testament of the type of people that are in the community. And, you know, being able to go to Gather All Two and meet all those people in person, so many different people, I can't even begin to name them all. And not just like the typical big players, like everybody that just consumes the content, and all these people that knew who I was, that I had no idea who they were.
Yes, sir.
It's incredible, you know, but for some reason, it's just everybody wants to be able to escape to this and enjoy it. And the people that aren't about that, they don't get really the time of day. It's kind of crazy. So my advice to you is just keep doing what you're doing, whether the quality is as good as the first video or it's like one of my videos and it's a B level. You know, so I mean, I think you're going to do great.
Well, thank you for the advice, man. And I don't want to be a pain in the ass, but any advice you can give me publicly, privately, DMs, whatever.
Yeah.
I may be off your radar after tomorrow. I don't know, but man, I just want to say thank you, first of all, for having me on,
of course,
for the sincere advice you're giving me, because, you know, at least I think I'm doing this with 100% for the right reasons. And I'm excited that I'm doing it. And I thanked him during my video, but I want to say thank you again to Lorenzo, because he said to do it for the right reasons. And he said, that's to have fun. And, you know, we can lose sight of that sometimes. I think when you get nervous and you get to want to do something, you want it to be successful. Yeah. And I want it to be successful, but excuse me, it's already been over the top successful for me, because I'm not going to say it again. It's already been over the top successful for me because the comments that I've received from people, brother, the real comments from their heart that tell me that I'm doing a good job in reaching them for the same questions that they've had. I can't tell you the number of people that have told me private messages, et cetera, since that video has been out for 4 days now. I can't tell you the number of people that have reached out and said, I've had questions about that sweater, that commando sweater. You've answered those questions. I'm going to go buy that sweater. Now,
Yeah.
whether or not they do, I don't know, right? I don't know. I'll
Yeah.
never. But the fact that I've answered questions for people that had those same questions that I did, I think that's what I want to keep trying to do, man. It really is. It's rewarding to see that my message resonates with some people, and I want to keep that going if I can. And the only way I know to do that is to be real, because to be honest and to
Right.
be real, that's to be who you are. And I think we all struggle with that because we all want to be perceived as being cool like Bond, or we all want to be perceived
Right.
as being infallible, or we all want to be perceived as being strong. Well, at 57, I've hopefully learned more than one thing, but I've learned that success, it depends upon the definition, first of all. And we all struggle to be ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to try to be who I really am and not bullshit myself, because I could, try to bullshit others, but not bullshit myself about who I am and
Right.
share who I am with others. And that's so scary, Luke, because you've done this before. I've never done it before. I put myself out there to the world at 57 years old, okay? At 57 years old saying, here I am. I'm fat. I'm old. Well, no, let's listen. We're going to be real, okay? I was in shape kind of like you when I was younger, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. So I've had my day for that. But right now I'm fat. I'm old. But by golly, I still want to live the Bond lifestyle. I still plan on living the Bond lifestyle. And there's others out there just like me. They may not be my age. They may be younger. They may be older. I had a gentleman reach out to me that said, I'm older like you. I'm in my late 50s. He said, I was about to get out of the community. He said, I was about to get out of the community until I saw your video, and now I'm excited about staying in and getting involved. Shit, that's if I'd got no other comments than that, my video was successful.
Right, exactly.
I've got one guy I wrote him back, and I told him, man, we need people like you. We need people of all ages, of all ethnicities, of all sizes and shapes for this community to be successful. It's an inclusive, not an exclusive community. And I mean that 100%, Luke. I really do.
I agree with that. It really is.
I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, brother.
No, please.
But I'm excited because when my message has been received and people take their time to let me know how it affected them, it's touching. I mean, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's another thing too, you bring up Lorenzo, and Lorenzo and I are very, very close, obviously, and he's had a lot of people reach out to him with the negative things, and he handles it very, very well. We touched on that, and I don't know if it's going to be, I can't even remember now if it was in part 1 or part 2 with the fiancés, but people can be really spiteful and hurtful, and like I said, I mean, actually you said it best, that one person reaching out to you saying what they said, it's very it's humbling, but you've affected somebody in a positive way, and that's really all that matters. And of course, as long as you're enjoying yourself. And Lorenzo's very good at that. He is very good at he is somebody that puts a lot of time and effort into everything he does. And for somebody to reach out and say something negative, you just got to laugh at it at this point, because it's like, what is wrong with this person for them to come after me? And I'm sorry to hear whatever it is, Well,
if I may go back for a second then to your lovely fiance that I had an opportunity to speak with.
Mm-hmm.
She may have said that best too, Luke, because that person making that negative comment to Lorenzo, we don't know what's going on in their lives.
Right.
We don't know what they're experiencing day to day. And Brienne said it. She said that very thing, so Lorenzo is wise beyond his, I don't know how old he is, but he's wise beyond his years as well, because he sounds like he's handling that fantastically.
Mm-hmm.
And kudos to him for that, because we don't know what's going on in that person's life that he feels that it's important for him to try to tear someone else down.
Right. And that comes with, the success he's had. He's got very, very many followers. He's well over, I think, 12,000 on Instagram now. So, I've had a few. What's that?
I said they go up that high?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I thought you couldn't get over 200. I'm not sure. I thought there was a cap at 200.
Yeah, me too. Me too. He's had people say, I mean, I've had some comments made, and David has been somebody who's taught me how to handle them and handle them gracefully, and with class, you know, because your first reaction is not to handle it that way. But you know, I've had somebody say, "Hey, your show's great, but do you have to say the F word so much?" Well, we've seen how that works out. I just every other word is fuck. So I'm sorry, but you know, and I tried. For that person, I can't remember who it is. I did try for like an hour, and it just didn't work. It didn't fucking work. So
You've got to watch The Big Lebowski now. Then,
yeah, it's just it didn't work for me. But you know, I mean, everybody's got their thing. But yeah, I mean, you're doing a great job. I can't thank you enough for coming on. And I definitely want to do this again. We'll have you on the podcast as well, but we'll try to have you on the podcast. Maybe we'll have a specific topic so we can kind of get a little more in depth with something Bond, if you'd be interested.
oh man, I'd love to. You kidding me? I'm having a blast. I could do this all night long. I know I've probably rambled and been incoherent at times because, you know, like I said, I'm going to be real. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm nervous and being,
Doesn't seem like it.
being with someone. Oh, I appreciate you saying that, but yeah, being with somebody that I've admired and followed for a long time, and not just because of your hair, and not just because of your fiance, but because of your content and what you're doing for the community. It's a little where I've gone from. Not that I've gone anywhere, but where I've gone in the past week to where I am sitting now in front of you talking has been an experience that I didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
And I couldn't prepare for it. And just all I can do is be who I am, you know?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, sir. I mean, I've gone through that too. I've been sitting with people and talking to people and texting and calling people that I couldn't believe I was, you know, able to, you know, the amount of people, David, Joe, Harris, Kyle, so many of these people I followed for so long that I can call friends now. It's crazy. But like we've talked about a few times, it's a very inclusive group of people. And, you know, 99% of people seem to be doing it for the right reason, which I think is pretty damn high in a group of people in any sort of, you know, community or anything like that. So I'm glad to have finally met you, sir, and keep up the fantastic work.
Man, thank you so much, Luke. I appreciate it. Thanks for spending part of my Wednesday evening with me. I've enjoyed the heck out of it. Really
you as well. Thank you for being in the East Coast. So this isn't some pain in the ass video to set up.
Well, you may not have noticed, but I'm in Jamaica at the moment.
I was going to say, yeah, well, that's also East Coast, isn't it? That's Eastern time zone still, I think. But thank you for coming on. And thank you guys for watching again. And this has been Will from Bond00XL. I will have links to his page and his Instagram below. And be sure to subscribe and like. And we will see you guys on the next video.
Thanks so much.